we went through an elongated period of really rising rates.
Yes.
You came on the show about 2-3 years ago.
Yes.
You said this stops now. It's going to get better news. Give us the behind the scenes of like what was happening then and where are we now?
Yes. So what was happening, and I'm going to try and keep this brief because I could talk for an hour about this, but what was happening if we rewind back to the 2020, 2019, 2021 era, we had a couple of court cases that inadvertently created, in essence, a loophole that allowed it to be very easy and very lucrative to sue insurance companies to get, most common example, a free roof. Your roof is old, it had to do with concurrent cause of losses, it had to do with fee multipliers for attorneys, and it resulted in these loopholes, which led to the numbers being, I saw you printed it out right here, 9% of claims in the United States and 79% of the lawsuits. That is insane. That is in the state of Florida. That is a crazy, crazy broken system. Florida contributed to 9% of the claims and 79% of the lawsuits. So that also resulted in, and I lived it, about a dozen carriers going into receivership in 2022. So what that looks like, it was an absurd thing to look back at and realize that our team had an SOP for when an insurance company goes into receivership. That is nuts. And so we had hundreds of thousands of Floridians losing their coverage during hurricane season. Those that weren't being dropped and being in all this craziness were getting rate increases, doubling, tripling. We had my own insurance went from over a 5-year period, about $700 or $800-ish up to about $11,000.
Wow.
And I do not live in the Taj Mahal. So like crazy stuff like this. And then because of certain nuances, if you've had a claim or your roof's a certain age, you had very few options to be able to leave and find anything else. So why this was a huge problem, because the obvious, Florida property owners, homeowners are paying way too much in insurance and having fewer options. The carriers didn't want to grow. We have no competition. There's just no reason for them to try and charge less. So the reason why this was like a huge, huge problem is we're in Florida. Our companies know how to underwrite for things like hurricanes. They know that. They're very good at that. They know how to underwrite for fire. They know how to underwrite for water and how to charge the appropriate premium. But all of a sudden, we have this whole new risk, and that was the risk of litigation. And it was a huge risk. So when you saw carriers doing insane things like, we will only insure roofs that are newer than 7 years old, or you have a 3-year-old roof that has a patch in it from where a tree fell and punctured it. And by the way, a patch is a very appropriate solution for this much damage to it, right? And the carriers would say, sorry, we will not insure that roof with a small patch. It wasn't because there's anything wrong with that roof, like it's going to leak. It's that it made that home a target for a door knocking roofer to come and feed that lead to an attorney. And the system, again, the risk they're insuring against was the risk of litigation and so much lawsuit abuse. So it had to get that bad for our leaders to call an emergency legislative session. And after, I will say it took them 4 or 5 times to get it right and to get the big bad bill passed that really will probably be a case study for many years to come of how the stars had to align for all these decision makers with the points of them having the most political power that they had, and they used it on getting this tort reform passed. So what this tort reform did, it in essence closed the loopholes. So the whole thing that insurance companies were so scared to do business in Florida, they're not taking any new business, they're raising rates to have to insure against this fear of litigation is gone. It's been completely removed. So since then we have, and I'm not sure if you were planning on sharing these stats, Greg.
I was just getting familiar ahead of time. So your stats are better than mine.
And my stats actually are better than yours because yours are slightly outdated and mine are better. So when I played it in mine, you were gonna say
this is not make good TV, Whit.
Listen. You just went over there to fix the microphone or something. You were going to say 19 insurers approved rate and premium rate reductions, but it's actually the most current information is 29 carriers have gotten approved rate reductions.
Wait,
you were going to say,
hold on. Let's just say it again.
Yeah.
Impressive, but rate
reductions. Rate
in
reductions.
2025.
Yes.
29 insurers
in Florida
have
since January of 2024 have filed for insurance premium reductions.
Okay.
Yes.
What is
40
an insurer is a company that provides the insurance?
Yes. Mhm.
I didn't know there was 29 insurers in Florida.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And we have to be able to work with many of them because that's the whole value of an independent agent, because insurance isn't a one size fits all.
Got it.
So we need the ones that will accept a flat roof. We need the ones that are really competitive for new construction. We
Yeah.
need the ones that are really competitive for coastal or
Mhm.
older homes or whatever the case may be. 44 carriers filed for no change, flat rate, and 15 new carriers since January of 2024 have filed to enter the state of Florida, which that to me is the biggest. That means that Florida is now a positive place where insurance companies are no longer fearful that they're going to go into receivership, that they're going to be forced out of business because they can't make any money.
Right.
And we had, to give you some more stats here, there were 8 straight years of underwriting losses for the Florida property insurance market, 2016 to 2023, till we got this tort reform passed. And now finally they've returned to profit.